Nadine,
Hello.
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 What's one of your best moments in life?
One of my best moments. Oh, well, I would say I've had many great moments, but one of my best moments was when I graduated from university in England. I was attending university in Cambridge, and graduating was a great journey. At the end, it was great to get to the podium and to get my degree. So
Wow,
yes, that was a good moment. Yes.
wow, that's a great moment.
Mm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Now Tell Us. This is a podcast where we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us and educate us on a subject. And always we have great guests. Our today's guest is Nadine Thompson, who is a poet, a writer, a teacher, and she enjoys cooking, traveling, gardening, reading books, and meditation. She's going to be telling us about writing and publishing. But just hold on there. As you are there, please remember to share this episode with all your friends. If you have a question as we are moving on, ask. If you have any comment of a kind, just make it. So now, officially introducing the Now Tell Us a show. Here we go. Yeah, pleased to have you here, Nadine. It's a pleasure.
Pleased to be here too. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and where are you from? For someone who may be watching you for the very first time, can we know where you're from?
I am from Jamaica. I'm presently living in China. I've been working in China as a teacher, an ESL teacher.
For how long have you been there?
This
Around.
is going to be my ninth year in China, so I've been here for a long time. Yes.
And how's that experience coming from Jamaica and staying in China, teaching there?
It's an experience that has a mixture of everything. I would say it's so far been a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
I work in an international school, so a lot of my colleagues are also foreign teachers, and a lot of the students have also traveled. Some of them have lived abroad. So it is an experience of being in a global village kind of. And before I lived in China, I also was teaching in Japan, and I also did my masters in England. So I've been in such global or multicultural situations before.
Hmm. That's wonderful. Now, going through your profile, I see some books. Now, for someone who may have seen you before, because we have been together before on one of the shows of my podcast, and we talked a bit about your books, the books that you've co-authored with people. And I'll give you this opportunity to just mention, because we're talking about books, you're going to tell us about writing. I'll give you a few minutes just to go through them, and I'll put an image over there just to mention one or two things about them, as we are going to talk about a special book that we did together that is known as Write and Publish Your Book. Authors tell their stories. uh, but before that, let's go to your books. Here they are. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the one that is Mission Accepted, that this book I just finished. I didn't, this is a collaboration book. So there are 262 women that submitted a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Some are business women, some are um, creatives. So we had poets and writers and singers and entrepreneurs. So it's still ongoing. So 200. It was to celebrate Women's Day, but not Women's Day for one day. Women's Day for the 8th of every month. So we continue for every month. On the eighth day, we keep celebrating. So this book, and it's going around the world, and they're having celebrations in different parts of the world.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then we have this celebrating 365 days of gratitude. Tell us about that, please.
So celebrating 365 days of gratitude is again another collaboration, and this is called a community book. And the lead editor, Donna Kozik, she wanted people to just have some gratitude to share for each day of the year. So you could pick a date and then you would write a story that was a celebration of gratitude. So I have two stories in it. One is for May 16th and one is for April 25th. April 25th is actually my birthday, so I had that date. Yeah, so celebrating and talking about why you should show gratitude. So that was also something that was a great project for me to share in.
And I believe we've got so much in life to
Yes.
just be grateful about.
Hmm.
And that must have been a great opportunity to just tell it to the world. And it's a good
Yes, to
one. It's a good
share.
way. Collaborating on a
Hmm.
book and telling it is a good way. Then we have
Hmm.
the Cinderella monologues.
Okay, and the Cinderella monologues, another collaboration with women. And this one was about women and your journeys. Share something about how you have overcome some situation, almost like a Cinderella, to change your life. So there were stories of women from all over the world. I remember one woman shared a story of her family being on a boat from Vietnam going to the US and her journey and starting over. So there were so many different kinds of inspirational stories in that book. And I shared my story of my first time visiting France and parts of Europe as a little girl coming from Jamaica and having the opportunity to go to these places, what it was like. So it was almost a Cinderella moment for me.
Hmm, that's good. Sharing a Cinderella moment with us. That's a good one. Uh, the next one, tell us about it, which is that one. Voices of Women.
Okay, so this was actually the first collaboration that I did, Voices of Women.
Okay.
And this one was, you had to be on stage, almost a stage of a podcast then. So we were sharing on Women's Day. So just like I'm talking to you now, I had a topic, I prepared a topic and I shared, and this was with a group of women. And then the story was recorded and then transcribed and then put into this book. So this was done with Kimberly Crow, and this was the first book collaboration that I did, and it was for Women's Day. And she has this thing of women from all over the world coming together to share their voices on Women's Day.
That's good. Now, for people who may be listening, they could think that collaboration is everything that you have always done, everything and the only thing that you've done. But I've come across encounters which has your name and only your name on it. And tell us about the encounters briefly.
Yes, so Encounters is my book of poems that I wrote by myself, and it's about my journey of being I call myself a transient person living in different countries and encountering different things. So, encountering places, encountering love, encountering myriad of feeling, encountering losing friends, loved ones, and encountering my own spirituality. So that is what Encounters is about.
Was that your first book to write, or did you start on
Yeah,
collaborate?
that was my first book
You
to
wrote,
write.
you wrote the book first and then you corroborated on other books
Yes,
later.
I wrote the book for, yes. So I did this book first, and after I published this book, that's how I met other people. And
Hmm.
then they are doing collaborations and said, would you like to share in this collaboration? So yes, that's
So,
how it happened.
and that's a good. So, writing is something that you've been doing and publishing. You've published, and there is someone who's watching and maybe having her dream or his dream that has not been fulfilled about writing and publishing a book. And that's the reason that many people came together. A few people, not quite many. It's about 16 people came together in this book that we are about to talk about, which is the Write and Publish Your Book, where authors tell their stories. And you told your story in the book.
Yes.
Uh, but maybe for the sake of the listener or the one viewing, tell us how you came to be a part of this book. I know, but someone out there.
Okay. So I think we met, I guess. So after I did my book, then I did this collaboration with Kimberly Crow, and I think as part of her thing, she had many people, come together to share, and I think that's where I connected with you, and then afterwards, I came on your podcast. So your podcast was the first podcast that I shared on about my book. And then afterwards, you were saying, you would want to do something similar, have a collaboration with writers to share their stories. So that's how I also connected with you and became part of this book.
Yes, and everyone who's watching, you can get Nadine's story from this book. The story is inside there. And many other writers are also there. We have Julie Sarsok, Jonas Sol, Dr. Manny here, Federaro, Mark Mbero, Sylvia Wassam, G.F. Zaimis, and some others.
And I've read the other stories, and they're very good. I mean, I think, all of us became authors, but different journeys.
Mhm.
But they are quite interesting, and just say to people, there's no one way. There are different paths to take, but you have to kind of find your way. But it's possible. It's possible to do it.
So, how would you advise someone to go about getting started now? Someone who has no idea and maybe has not picked the book, but we advise you to go and pick the book. But even before they go for the book, how would you advise someone to just become a published author? Which is the easiest way, or maybe just your ideas?
Well, first, I say to people, you have to start writing. So I am part of a group of people now where people say, "Oh, I want to write a book." So just last week, I was doing a webinar and I had to share, and people are saying, "Okay, I've had this idea. I want to write a book." And I say to them, "Okay, well, the first step is you need to sit down and you need to plan. What
Mm,
kind of book do you want to write? And then after making the plan, you need to start writing. And if you can put together a manuscript, that's the first stage. And as you are writing, also start to research about how to publish. What kind of publishing do you want to get into? Some people just want to upload the book using KPD by themselves. Some people want to use a publisher. If you want to be self-published, but you want to have an editor and somebody to check for you, then you can, I guess, pay. There are many different kinds of publishing companies. So you need to go research to find out which one is best for you. Then you also need to know how you're going to market the book. Because I had a friend last year who she published her book. It was on Amazon. And then she said to me, "But I'm not getting any money from this." And I said, "Because you need to market it now. So having it up on Amazon doesn't say your book is going to start selling.
mhm.
There are tens of thousands of books on Amazon. So you have to find ways to market your book."
Yeah, sure. It doesn't sell if you don't sell. So you've got to
Yes.
sell for it to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the first and foremost is to have your book written and published, and
Yes.
then get it in out there on people's hands. Let them
Mhm.
read your story. Let them know what you think, because you are there to pass a message, to inspire someone, to educate someone on what it is that you share. Now,
Mhm.
Nadine, there is a topic, a hot topic that has been going on for now 1 year about, and I would want to hear your take on this. And this is known as the AI thing. What's your
Yeah.
take on it?
Yeah, yes, I even have, stuff coming to my email about, okay, write your book using AI and this is the fast way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe in this that use AI to write your book. I think you can use AI for the editing purposes, you know. So when you need to edit or when you need to create a design or things like that. But I think that the first initial thing should come from writers. So I believe in the craft and the writing. So that's why I believe in helping people to get the story out first. So what I'm moving towards now is coaching, so book writing and coaching. So I have people come to me and they say, "Okay, we want to write a book." I sit with them and say, "Okay, let's come up with a plan. Let's organize what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be intentional and say, okay, I'm going to write 1,000 words, you know, every day or every 2 days." And then just start. And then if you can do that and you can have a manuscript, then from there you can have that now and then you can decide how you move it forward. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you should just put all the ideas in and give it to AI. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, and I agree that there is no machine that can tell your life story like you, and
Yeah.
especially for people who choose to tell their life story or any story of their part of their life. There's
Mm.
no AI that can tell it as you. For example, AI cannot tell of how it came from Jamaica, went to England, and did a degree there, and is teaching now. It's you to tell that story,
Yes.
and then after you tell that story, now you can ask AI to help you enrich that language that you may use.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why,
Maybe if you make
yeah,
mistakes, grammar, things like that, and you can
yeah,
put that out. And I
mhm,
think what people don't understand, if you use AI to write your book and somebody else is using AI, they're all going to start sounding the same. So there's
mhm,
nothing unique about your story or the way it's told because AI is only collecting information and just regurgitating the same thing with the same number of words. So it was like when you use all these apps to sometimes I notice that they'll give you a phrase, but sometimes that's not what you want to say.
mhm.
It's just giving you a phrase, but you read the phrase and you're like, no, I don't want to say that. What I'm saying, this is what I want to say. So I think you have to be very clear about that too.
So I think there's nothing to be afraid of because initially people are very much afraid that AI is
Yeah.
coming to take our job. Uh, it's going
Mhm.
to write books, and I won't. My books won't sell. Uh,
Yeah.
and people are also fearing about their jobs, different kinds
Hmm.
of jobs that AI is taking over. But as for authors, we don't have to be scared as yet. I
Yeah.
mean, in fact, in some instances, I think is more of a friend than a foe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna
Mhm.
help us now. uh, Maybe you can share with us at this point. You've written, you've and published your own book, and you've collaborated with other people. Told us that you're moving into coaching, but on a personal level, what could be in mind about the progress of your writing and publishing? What could you be thinking about?
I have another book of poems. It's now being edited and will be published soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it is with the publishers, and they said that maybe 3 to 6 months we
Mm.
should have it, published. And this book is going to be about the whole journey of writing. So it's called Staring at a Blank Page. And it's a whole thing of I want to write, but I don't know what to write. And it's a whole thing of being intentional. And so how I wrote this set of poems, I said, okay, when I wrote my first book of poems, it was very, very easy. Basically, I was in the flow. I was having ideas, but then now I'm so busy all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have time to write all of this. So I said to myself last September that from September 1st to September 30th, every day I would write one poem. Didn't matter what was happening. I was giving myself this challenge. I must write something. So I did that every day in September last year. I wrote a poem and I also wrote some, share things to share just some statements, some things that I wanted to share. And I put it together and I said, okay, I had it for a whole year. And then I decided I'll see if it's good enough to be published. So I sent it off to a publisher and they loved it and said, of course, we can work on it, we can fix these things, but it's actually really good. And so we want to help you to publish it. So they're getting ready to be published.
Wow.
I also have been working on I, I call it kind of memoirs, but it's basically just my time living abroad. So what I've learned from living in different countries. So I've lived in Japan, I've lived in China, lived in England, and my own country, Jamaica. What has been my life journey in those places. So my book is almost finished about that as well.
Hmm.
So those are two books that I think by next year, June, they should be out.
Wonderful. Now, when you talk about taking 1 month or 30 days, that's just the plan that you're talking about. Someone should have a plan of
Yes,
what they're gonna do it, what they're gonna do, and how they're gonna do it, even
yes.
before they go into it.
Hmm.
So, and then you kept it for 1 year, and I kind of want to imagine, like I also have some great ideas come to me, and then I put them aside for some time just to see that after some time when I come back to them they were still going to sound as they were sounding at
Mm.
the past. Could that be the reason, or did it just lay there out of circumstances?
I was really very busy. So
Mhm,
last year, so from September 2023 2024, I was teaching a
mhm,
graduating class. So it was quite busy because getting these kids to um, go, we were having things that they needed to do a final what they call exhibition. So I was quite busy. At
mhm,
one point, I somebody was saying to me there was a lady in China and she did publishing. So I contacted her about publishing my book. But with her, she didn't do editing. She only did the publishing side of it.
mhm,
So I said, well, I would love for somebody else to look at it, not just me. I wanted to have other people who knew about writing to kind of give me some feedback.
mhm,
So she said to me if she could publish it, yes, but she's more interested in design. And also with her, she was using a lot of AI designs, which I didn't really like.
mhm,
I wanted more natural, more artistic things, maybe working with an artist, things like that. But she didn't offer that. She was more she got the images from the internet using AI. She did it looks really nice, but
mhm.
it wasn't what I wanted. So after that, I said no. I would wait until I could really find somebody that resonated with me. So that's why I waited.
Yeah, okay. And then you say that it's going to take about 6 months. Why so long? In this
No,
book,
not well. They said 3 to 6 months. They
three to
said it
six
could go
months.
fast as it could go slow.
Okay.
So I think for now, I think it will actually go faster
Mm-hmm.
because the person who is doing the design for the cover, he has already contacted me, and the lady who is doing the editing, she said, she'll be finished. I think by the end of next week. So I think they just give you this timeline, maybe to say if there are many changes, but actually, I don't think there will be many changes.
And again, I guess if you need to have something good, then you've got to take time on it. You've got to give it time
Yes,
to,
yes. Give
yeah.
it time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, give it
Mhm.
time and review it, edit it. You don't just write something out and put it out there without knowing whether you've done the very right thing.
Yes. You,
And
you need somebody who knows to kind
yes,
of give you some
yes,
some advice. Yes.
yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and if you're surrounded by people who are knowledgeable on these things, then you have an advantage.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
to someone who's listening out there, you don't have to stay with your story. You can put it on paper, you can share it with us because maybe your story is going to inspire someone. I want to imagine that when your book comes out, you book, Nadine. When it comes out, there are gonna be some great stories from Jamaica, England, and because it sounds like a great adventure.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's more about, I think it's not only the journey of the physical, it's also the journey of the mental. So
Mm-hmm.
I was saying all of my journeys, because somebody said, okay, but you didn't do this or you didn't do that. Do you have some regrets? And I said, no, I think all my journeys took me here. So where I am is because of all the things I've been through. So I don't think I need to have any regrets or something like that. So for me, I think the beautiful thing was that I started out and I'm using all my gifts now,
Mm-hmm.
because I remember as a child I always was wanting to teach,
Yeah.
and now I'm still teaching. But now when I'm doing coaching, I'm using teaching in another way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying too, when I started learning about coaching, I said I remember I was in England, and at my university somebody said, okay, they're having this sharing about coaching and life coaching and personal coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that day it was snowing heavily, but I remember taking the train from Cambridge to Birmingham, and I mean it was heavy snow, and I stayed in Birmingham, and I went to this what they call a taster to just learn something about coaching. I never used it then, thought, okay, it's over. I left England, came to China, and after a few years, it's now a very popular thing in China. A lot of foreigners are into coaching. And then it took me back to that time, and I said, okay, so see, everything came full circle, and now I am going back to that. So I think everything sometimes it's all linked together.
Mm. Is what Steve Jobs say, connecting the dots.
Yes.
And you can only
Yes.
connect the dots when you look back and not look ahead. Is when you sit and reflect on the path that you've taken and you see how each and everything was working
Connected.
for you,
Yes.
for good,
Yes.
for what you are
Mm.
now, and then
Yeah.
appreciate. Coming back to the issue of gratitude, is good to be happy, be glad about what it is happening in your
Mm-hmm.
life and the things that you enjoy for no pay. I mean, yeah, so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we started with the best moments of your life. That was the question, but I can ask you, is there a moment that you, even though not regret, but is there a time in your life that you remember and say, oh, that was a horrible time? And you would want to share it with us?
I would say it's I would say more heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that was being in China and losing family members and not being able to be there when they passed away, and you had the funeral and things like that.
Mm.
So that part I would say was heartbreaking, because since I've been away, both when I was in Japan and in England, there have been people in my community, people in my family, people who I grew up with, people who I knew, and it's just sad when people pass and you're never going to see them again. So that part of it is sad.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I agree with you. I've been through some experiences of a kind in that direction, and I kind of feel you and the pain that you could be having. You can never rewind time. You can only accept
No.
the way things happened and embrace
Mm.
embrace this very minute as you look towards the future with hope and gratitude again.
Yes, gratitude. Yes. Hmm.
Wow, wow, wow. Nadine, it's such an honor to have had you on my show. We're just about to end, and we thank you for coming.
Before I go there, I'd just like to say the book we did together,
Yeah.
as I'm doing my coaching and as I'm teaching people about writing, it's one of the books I put on the reading list. And I say to people, this is a book I'm suggesting you can get and you can read. And I'm sharing parts of it with people to say yes. So as I do these webinars, I say, yeah, this is one book that I am sharing with you that it's useful and I think you can get it. So anyone who is interested in writing, please go out. Yes, it's on Amazon. You can read it. Read the stories of these brave people who took that step, and they haven't regretted it. And I'm sure you won't regret it too. I think one of the most inspirational stories there was a lady who was she was already in her was she was already thinking that she was past the time when she couldn't write anything, and then she published her story. So yeah, so they're very very great stories. So yes, please do get the book and read it. Yes.
Yeah, go and get the book and read it. It's a wonderful book. And how can people find you? For those who've heard your story, would like to follow up with you, how can they find you?
Well, I have my own website, and if you link to the website, so it's nadinekthompson.com. And if you go to the website, then it will link you to my email. So you can leave a message that links you to my email. I'm on Facebook. My book is also on Facebook. So Encounters Nadine K. Thompson is on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram as Afro Sensei 10. Afro Sensei is Japanese for teacher. And yeah, so those are the places I am. So if you just connect with me, then yes, I am. I'm on LinkedIn, but I for some reason I can't get back onto my LinkedIn account. It's blocked here, but yeah,
Wow, there's so much censorship there, I guess,
yeah.
for several reasons. I've had some stories there. Maybe we could share on another day. So, yes, thank you very much. All those who are listening, please go and connect with Nadine at nadinekthompson.com. And
Yes, and I'm gonna be having my course ready to start in November. So I'm
mhm.
gonna put it on my website as well. So for people who want just that, get that draft out, it's gonna be from November to January, about a 3 months course, and just get you starting with your writing and get you to put that draft. If you get that draft out, you're ready. I had one course last year, and there are people now who are getting their drafts out and are completing their books. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wonderful. Hey,
Mm.
go follow Nadine to
Mm.
get the course,
Thank you.
get more learning, and get more content from Nadine. Yeah, and get the book. Write and publish your book. Before you go, there's something that we like hearing from our guest at Now Tell Us. Tell us something that we should never forget.
I think we must never forget kindness. Kindness, I think, is one of the most beautiful things in life. And when people are kind, I always am very respectful, because they don't have to be kind to you. People are taking the time to be different. So, like today I ordered something, and the it's a shop very close by, but the owner of the shop, he didn't have anyone to deliver it, and he took it himself. And when he came, I said, "But you didn't have to, you could have waited until your delivery guy came back." And he said, "No, no, no, no. I didn't want to keep you waiting. I want to make sure you have this, so I came myself and made sure." And he said, "Especially because I knew you changed your address. I didn't want you to get lost, so I came myself." And I said, "I really appreciate that. That's you really taking care and taking the time." So whenever people are kind, they say a kind word, they do a kind deed, don't take it for granted.
Kindness, kindness.
Kindness.
It's a great word. It's a great word.
Mm.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate.
But thank you so much for having me, Anthony. It's been almost a year and a half since we we have been planning to do this. So I'm happy that we have finally gotten to this point. Thank you.
Yeah, never give up on your dreams.
Never give
It
up.
can
Yes, yes,
always happen. So here we did
yes,
it, and
yes.
we are wishing you all the best in everything in the future.
Thank
And
you.
looking forward to hear more stories from you as you keep writing.
Thank you, Anthony. And I keep following you and keep being inspired by your stories too.
Oh, thank you. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep impacting the world positively as we can.
Positively, yes. Yes.
Yes, and to everybody out there, thank you for watching or listening. Please remember to share it with all your friends, and yeah, just be kind to everyone around you. And
Yes.
and until
And
next
keep
time,
sharing your stories. Keep
yeah,
sharing your
keep
stories.
sharing
Yes.
your stories. Keep sharing your stories.
Yes.
And until next time, this has been Now Tell Us. I've been your host, Anthony Murore. And together with our wonderful guest, Nadine Thompson, we're saying bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.